Do you read me over?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me over?
Pacho, this is Com Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower, Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. I say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field up with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! Get some. Hurrah! What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another week. Baby Friday night's eve, but goddamn, it's almost the weekend. Oh man, we are in some really weird times. I got a really good show, and I think it's something that we should definitely talk about. I mean, as somebody who is in news or out in the media, so on and so forth, and on this platform, I think this is something really important we got to talk about. I thought it was important for us to talk about this week, but let's get all the pleasantries out of the way. This show is brought to you by basically me. I mean, what I do for a living is I help veterans, teachers, service members, CPAs, business owners, no matter what, where you're at on the spectrum. It does, I can help you put strategies together so that you can achieve your financial goals. What does that mean? Well, maybe you want to buy a house. Maybe you want to send your kids to college. Maybe you're getting out of the military and now you're transitioning from single group life insurance, SGLI, onto what is that they have in the private sector. Maybe you want to buy a house. Maybe it's your first time home buyers and you want to put some serious strategies that can get you there. Regardless of where what the goals are, I can help you hit those target points. Let's just have a quick conversation. It'll take about 30 minutes, sometimes more, a little bit more, depending on how many questions you have, but it's just a conversation. I promise you that after you leave that those 30, 40 minutes, you're going to be not only more educated as it pertains how to implement strategies and with your finances, and you'll also walk away with tangible information that you can share with your family. I promise I will not waste your time. So let's just have a conversation. There's no commitments, no nothing, just a quick conversation and education. So that way, I mean, I think you're worth it and your financial future is worth it. Don't you think so? Okay. And also, we advocate here at the show as well in regards to putting in for your VA claim, putting in for, you gave 20 plus years or however many years of your life to the military and to this great nation of ours. Well, why not put in for your claim and have somebody assist you? I can help you with that. Unlike Claim Sharks and other organizations that will charge you a fee, what I do is I show you how to fish and we walk the dog together. So that way, once, God forbid something were to happen to me, well, now you're empowered and you know how to do it yourself, utilizing different resources. Really easy. It takes about an hour actually to, most claims that I've helped put together, an hour at the most. But however, it's an invaluable time that, I'm already seeing from helping all these veterans. A friend of mine already got 100%. I got somebody from 70 to 90. Somebody, we're starting to process 10%. Sometimes 10%. Again, I don't make any promises that you're going to get, PNT and all that, the golden ticket. However, I've helped several people already improve. And, and I also help with the appeal process if you don't like what, the outcome that you got. So we can do that. All right. So just hit me up, hit me a DM. You can find me on social media and all the other platforms. As a matter of fact, I'm asking you, please go on my YouTube channel and also on my TikTok. It's all right there right here on the show. And just like, subscribe, and follow. Help me with the analytics. I don't get paid anything out of this. So I just do this show out of the kindness of my heart because I love sharing information and talking to you folks out here. So help me out, help the analytics. And last but not least, look, this show is all about First Amendment, which we're going to talk about, Second Amendment, all that good stuff. And if you like the show and you like what you hear, again, like, subscribe, and follow. Go on my other platforms. And if not, check out something from sitchradio.com. As a matter of fact, shout out to Combat Vet Vision. My boy Chief Aaron Siebert is in the house, and also to Brian Colburn. If you want to get into the podcast game, by all means, hit him up. He is an amazing resource, a great friend of mine, and we're putting together some really amazing projects together. So he's a man who talk to among many other different things. All right. So that's pretty much for all the pleasantries. Let's talk about this. So what's been going on? First of all, I want to acknowledge a minute in for Charlie Kirk, and and just everything that's been going on lately. So if you could just please join me on a minute of silence, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate doing that. Again, look, this is not today. This is not it's not about politics or anything, because at the whether you sit on one side or the other doesn't really matter. One of the great things that uh, being here as an American citizen, is we have a right of freedom. We have all these rights that we take for granted, and we can agree to disagree. I am a proud Republican. I was been. You could call me a conservative. I have my own personal beliefs, but I don't infringe those upon upon you. We can agree to disagree, and there's no. I mean, there's no. I guess no qualms about it, if I'm using that word correctly right now. I have friends who are Democrats, who are liberal. It doesn't matter. We can have a conversation. Some of them may not. We've had some conversations, and even though I've remained cool, calm, and collected, they might have gotten a little heated. However, at the end of the day, we all walk away. Hey, you know what? Hey, you're my boy, you're my girl. I love you. Whatever. It's good, and that's it. I mean, that's pretty much it. We're in a trying time where let me just give you some little bit. So obviously, we all know what happened with Charlie Kirk. Obviously, nowadays in social media, they have all these organizations kind of scrubbing the language and what you type over here. So let's just call it, after Charlie Kirk's passing, many people have gone online who mocked or celebrated online that about this person, basically the way he was taken from his family in such a tragic manner. Some people have been fired, some people have been suspended, some people have been disciplined. I mean, a good example is Jimmy Kimmel. And by the way, I mean, in social media platforms, everything is everywhere. So when I was kind of checking out my feed, I saw what Jimmy Kimmel had said on it. I mean, I don't agree. I like old Jimmy Kimmel. I like Jimmy Kimmel from The Man Show. Remember that show from the 2000s? I mean, also, I like it. Just some people sometimes, we get on, even me, on these platforms, we have to be careful in the sense, hey, freedom of speech is great, whatever. It's just how it's taken and out of content, and I did see what, the monologue that he did. I may not agree with it, but that's okay too. I don't have to agree. You know what I'm saying? So, and obviously Senator Ted Cruz, among others, they've emphasized that while free speech protects even hateful or offensive expression, it doesn't protect somebody from the consequences of that speech, if that makes sense. You've heard me say it in the past. Yes, he ended up losing basically his show is canceled indefinitely, even though that there were already talks that show was going to be taken out of the air. I don't know. So again, you've heard me say it in the past in the show. Even folks like the KKK, or they can, it's their constitutional right that they can gather. So as long as it's peaceful, not infringing upon anybody, they can. Again, it happened. I mean, but they're covered. We don't have to agree with it. However, and that's what you, me, and everybody else who served and who listens to the show, if you're a veteran, I mean, this is what we fought for, freedom of speech, right? So, and law experts have already gone. I mean, there's been people on, on all these big networks talking about it and connected, and they've already said, while protected, again, freedom of speech, cross ethical or professional lines, special for public, people facing jobs, I mean, a company can say, hey, you know what, this doesn't align with us, and this is kind of where we're at right now. So let me educate you just a little bit. What is freedom of speech? It does not protect individuals from repercussions at work, school, or on social media platforms. Before I even get into this, many years ago, when I was still in the Marine Corps, I actually ended up being what was that called? It was in Mount Fuji. I was the operational security officer, and I went through this Corps OPSEC. For those of you with the little purple dragon and shit. I don't know why the purple dragon, but a lot of us, we have a negative. Somebody knows about purple dragon, like let's get butted. You know what I'm saying? However, so operational security, and one of the things that they harped on us on there is, and because I had to scrub social media accounts, not so much for what they were posting, but it just things that, hey, we're at this grid, oh, we're here, and when you deploy to Iraq, hey, you're posting all this kind of, all this kind of, like grids and where we're at. Oh, we're deploying to Iraq, and we're going to be here. We're going to be patrolling because the enemy is out there looking for this information, and they have. And it's, if you don't believe me, I'm telling you, organizations, the bad guys, they are a lot of the stuff nowadays is done through. They have people combing social media, all these things, analyzing and gathering intelligence. That's the first now, where everybody puts their shit. When I was in the 2000, coming in the 2000s to the 2010s. I mean, social media was still somewhat newish, but now, I mean, it's here. It ain't going nowhere. And let me tell you, the enemy goes through that shit. If you don't believe me, I mean, a lot of us have been scammed already through, including me, and hacked and all that shit. So, and that's another story for another show. So let me just, so to get back is that now DOD, they have a department and they scrub all social media accounts. So, and again, when you raise that right hand, I do solemnly swear to protect all enemies, foreign and domestic. You know that the oath, it's not that you're giving up your right as a soldier, as a Marine, or as a citizen. However, you are representing that organization, just like you're representing another, your civilian job, whatever the case may be. So, but let me just break down again. That doesn't, getting back to the subject, that doesn't, just because you could say something doesn't mean you can't, and us as service members, we can't talk shit about, we can't talk, you can't talk shit about your commanding officer. You can't, you just can't, how are you going to be, seem as loyal if you're going on social media or even talking out loud about your commanding officer? That just shows this, not being loyal. It's just so many things, man. We can really peel the layers on this topic tremendously. So let me just give you some talking points. So about breaking down the myth that freedom of speech means freedom from consequences. Because a lot of us out here, even some fellow veterans, because I'm on social media. I got to look for stuff to talk about. And I see vets and people talking, this, I'm a veteran. Dude, shut the fuck up. Okay? So the constitutional primer, the First Amendment prohibits the government from censoring speech. We all agree on that, right? It does not protect individuals from consequences at work, school, or on social media platforms, right? So there's a lot of misconceptions out there right now. people scream, "Oh yeah, First Amendment, First Amendment." However, if your platform gets taken away or whatever, private companies have their own code of conduct. Now, if when you get, I worked for an organization proud of leaving the corporate world, and thank God. And by the way, if you want to leave your corporate job, or you're looking for a side hustle, or you're a veteran and you don't want to, go to corp, hit me up. I'm high. Our office is hiring. We're expanding. It's an amazing opportunity. Let's just have a conversation. Hit me up on the DMs. So, but companies, and a lot of us don't take the time to read that employee packet, because it's in there. I'm telling you, there's code of conduct, especially if you work for a big corporation like Raytheon, like Heiko, all those. You gotta read. Take the time to go in there. Use ChatGPT. I don't give a shit. But that's how they get you. Okay. And from a veteran's perspective, I raised my right hand to defend the Constitution, and most of us with that freedom comes through. Most of us should understand already that with that freedom comes a lot of responsibility. For my Spider-Man nerds over here, that's what Uncle Ben told Spider-Man or Peter Parker, right? So, for example, like Kirk's death. That's the most recent example. There's a lot of celebratory or mocking posts. Protected, yes. But many employers fire suspended people who posted that shit. I on TikTok, and among others, it's just, man, some of these people are just, how can I fucking mean, man? Jesus Christ. Absolute zero compassion, whether you agreed with the guy or not. I happen to like the guy. We kind of saw on a lot of things. I disagree with some things but doesn't matter. Or even people that I may hate. Jesus Christ. And even the way this guy was, in front of his family, I'm just saying. And then when someone says, I hope more like him, are taken, I don't want it. It's not illegal speech, but it's also not something employers or schools are going to tolerate. You know what I'm saying? So us as veterans. And by the way, I also had somebody, a family member come, oh, well, well, I don't know what, with your, I can't believe that you support, this administration, blah, 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 whatever. Hey, look, I respect the president. I respect him. I did vote for the guy. It's no fucking secret. There are a lot of things I may not. There are times that I may disagree with the guy. Heck, I didn't like the last office, but I didn't want the guy who failed. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want the guy to. If the leader of the free world, fails, that's, you might as well go to the armory, issue out your M16 fucking fixed bayonets, and start sharpening your e-tool, because shit is gonna go sideways. You know what I'm saying? There were some administrations. There you go. That's the word I was looking for, because I'm getting excited. My accent. I'm starting to sound like freaking Desi Arnaz. Well, I'm dating myself. I'm sounding like Rodrigo Suave, like Tony Montana, because I'm getting excited about this topic. But it's important that we gotta talk about, right? So again, look, we've all we may disagree, getting back to the point, but you also live in a life where what you say and what you say and do, there are consequences, and it carries weight. You know what I'm saying? So in the military, that was called integrity. In society, it should be the same. Shit, So we have to make stuff happen. So what does this mean for us veterans and a different mindset? There are consequences, cases. People are getting fired. Jimmy Kimmel, his show is indefinitely canceled. By the way, if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend that, so that way you get a little bit more content. Because I'm not going to sit here and promote the dude, promote me, shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but our actions have consequences. One thing that they used to teach us, and as you get more senior in the enlisted ranks after sergeant, pretty much. I mean, one of the things that you're taught at sergeant's course, the staff academy, warrant officer school, or TBS, the basic school, whatever, is that your actions have consequences. So that's why a lot of commanders, when we are creating a 5-paragraph order, for those of you who remember what that shit is, or you're providing these products for your commander, because your commander, or if you're that guy in that hot seat, you got to make, so you provide him with 3 courses of action, 3 COAs per section. You have logistics, you got operations, you got intel, this, that, sir, based on this information, here's 1 COA, 1 course of action, blah, 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 right? And that guy is going to make it based on that information. That individual is going to make, okay, hey, we're going to go with these actions, because good, bad, or indifferent, whatever happens out in when you're snooping and pooping, executing this thing outside the wire, pretty much people's lives, not only from your team, from the soldiers, Marines, whatever, executing that mission, there are going to be civilian casualties as well. And that individual who made that decision has to be good with it. Now, please don't take this out of context in the sense that, he's being called that, about killing and blah. No, I'm just saying that all those things, those repercussions, and we can cite many examples, Marines doing dumb shit in deployments, airmen, soldiers, whatever, and commanders getting fired. Why? Because not that they allowed or permitted that. It's just that that's the burden that you carry as a leader. That's the point I'm getting at. So there are consequences with our actions that, that are going on right here. I mean, and now, I mean, the lines are very, I mean, for the last, I don't know, going for the last 9 years, the lines have been, it's no longer a line on the sand for division, because we're very divided. I mean, you might as well call it a fucking brick wall. I mean, that's how divided we are right now. I mean, and then this is very, it's distasteful. What is distasteful and offensive versus this is illegal speech? And again, going back to, if you get down to the basics, while you may have a right to say things, I mean, let me tell you, and I quote Charlie Kirk, this is the only country that people hate it and don't want to leave it. I mean, that right there should tell you something. And let me tell you, I'm an immigrant myself. I'm very proud where my heritage is from. I was born and raised in Colombia. Love the country. It's pretty cool. All that, amazing. However, I am a citizen of the United States. I serve for this nation. I bleed red, white, and blue. I will never forget my cultural heritage, where my parents came from. And I mean, I came here almost as a teenager. And I've seen poverty. I mean, like fucking poverty, people living in mud huts. I mean, there are over there. I mean, even with this day and age, I mean, you still find people like that. And then, and I just seen many different all over the world, because I've traveled. And so the point I'm making, folks, is that, while some of you may hate this country or whatever, for whatever reason that things are going on now, using words like fascism, all these things, I'm telling you, it is not the fucking case. Because fascism, you want to talk about fascism, Italy lived through that. Obviously Germany, Chile through Pinochet, Argentina, although in Latin America, I mean, hell, in Colombia had in the 60s, the papaya wars. You can Google that shit, people. Oh man, we take for granted so much shit, and then a lot of us forget, history, and to find the truth, and just rather than just going, oh yeah, social media, hey, this is the coolest thing right now for us to disagree upon, right? Because in all this, what does this mean for us veterans? Is that obviously it gave us a voice to the military and to the veteran communities. I mean, we're you know, we during our military training, our words could spark violence or cost lives. I mean, plain and simple. Every briefing, every mission, every rule, rules of engagement emphasize discipline and intent. One of the things that when I was deployed, and the Army was very frustrated because their rules of engagement, they were so frustrated, and they were getting lit up while they were driving, doing their convoys from one area to the other, that for us Marines, and I don't know, maybe that's why that stigma follows us about, hey, us being gun happy. However, you're in a combat environment. If people are engaging with you, and the bullet counts, that we just didn't have the restrictions that they did, so much so that soldiers were losing their lives, soldiers were being injured. So the point I'm trying to make is that, the perception out there is that, oh, when you go to combat is, pew, 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 and all that. It isn't. There's a lot of things that comes out, and a lot of fallout that comes with it. We've already seen too, here on the veteran side, the fallout of what freedom of speech versus consequences of that freedom of speech. You see what I'm saying? You guys remember the show that I had with Scotty Bowman, who's a fellow chief warrant officer, and Lieutenant Colonel Neller or Scheller. Is it Scheller or Neller? Anyways, the Lieutenant Colonel, you may recall that after the U.S. started pulling out of Afghanistan, a Marine officer, a very high-ranking officer, went and started, criticizing the leadership, criticizing the administration. And yes, that was 100% his right. However, what were the consequences of that freedom of speech, of him using a platform while in uniform and pretty much expressing his thoughts? I mean, what did it cost him? Well, it cost him his career. It cost him his retirement. It cost him his VA benefits. It cost him a lot of things. However, going back as a leader, he knew what he was doing, and a lot of us may disagree here. His actions, and, well, he shouldn't have done that. He was wearing the uniform. Doesn't fucking matter. What we're talking about right here is that he exercised his right, and there were consequences, and the guy is good with it. That's the point I'm trying to make. So and for us, for a lot of, and then if there's any active duty personnel out there celebrating whatever happens, and here's the other thing is that we, while on active duty, we fall under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, right? Where making hateful speech or celebratory violence is punishable. And a lot of us carry those habits forward. It's just, and I pass this on to my kids. I pass this on to anybody that is willing to have an educated conversation and basically have some discord, right? So why does this feel kind of personal? Well, because it is. Watching people celebrate, another American citizen's murder, even someone you may not agree with. That shit cuts deep. Or maybe this is maybe I'm at the age point of my life where I'm kind of aligning with my parents in the sense that, like, man, is this when this happened with Ronald Reagan? Hell, it happened with when President Trump was running for office. The dude was like by this much. Geez, and in the 80s it happened. Ronald Reagan too. And they shot the guy and he survived. And then there was another guy too, an FBI agent, a Secret Service agent who took a bullet for him as well. It's crazy. So I'm just saying that it feels like betrayal of basic decency, something a lot of us soldiers as a whole, because I'm just putting us all vets under that word, we should never accept it. Not or even in combat zones, we got to hold ourselves to the highest level, right? And unfortunately, civilians just don't get it. They weren't vetted and or go through or went through a process like we did, boot camp, Marine combat training, uh, officer candidate school, the basic school, all those all those organizations and schools, that was a vetting process, instilling even and adding more layers of what we stand for. Period. You know what I'm saying? So there's no there's just you just can't when it comes to having character, you just can't shortchange yourself, especially after many years of of serving for this great nation of ours. I mean, there's no, in the civilian side, there's no battle buddy accountability. There's no PT for character. Uh, does that make sense? I mean, am I getting through to some of you here? I mean, put a thumbs up right here on the comments. But that's why vets often feel like they're watching the country unravel from the sidelines. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to get two points across right now, is that it is okay for you to, if you don't like this administration, that's okay. I didn't like the previous, and then the one, not the one in 2016, not from President Trump, but the other guy. I don't like Obama. However, I did, and I served for the as an officer and under that leadership. I didn't want the dude to fail. Let me just get, you know what I'm saying? So, because I still support it, and I still raise my right hand against all enemies, foreign and domestic, all that stuff. So the point I'm trying to make here is that we can dislike, however, but I still, as an officer, I still had to support him. He was our commander in chief. So why would we want the leader of the world, or even other things going on right now? It's just like, man, we really. I just ask, where is the discipline? Where is the standard? If you wouldn't tolerate a junior Marine or junior soldier dying at or laughing over the death of someone in uniform, why is it okay to accept, for a civilian? Why is this becoming the norm? Fellow civilians, because I am a civilian now, I mean, for all intents and purposes, why is this okay? That's a father that was lost. That was a husband that was lost. That was a son, somebody's grandchild. I mean, the guy was super, super young. So why is it okay? And why is it okay? Lately, it just, why do people who have a platform, movie stars, this, that, they'll go on a venue and use that as their preaching point? My job here, and I have this very clear. I mean, I'm here to talk about things that make people want to talk, and we don't have to agree. But I don't use it as a you should do this, or if you believe in this, you're that. That my job here is the purest, essential, and raw content is to entertain and provide content. And talk and conversation. But the minute I start saying you are this if you are that, or if you are this if you believe that, that's where I'm going wrong. And that's where a lot of these people go, oh, it's my freedom of speech. Yeah, it's your freedom of speech. However, those are going to be the consequences these are the consequences that follow after that. So why should we accept that as a new norm in America? You know what I'm saying? I mean, ask yourself, and I mean, the consequences are real, folks. You are free to speak, but not free from fallout. Just like in uniform, your mouth can get you into a lot of trouble. I know it did to me a couple of times. And the role is, if you run a company, a classroom, or a channel, you need to set the tone. I mean, and are you amplifying healing or division? We need healing, folks. We don't need division. We're already overly divided, in my opinion. And freedom of speech doesn't mean cruelty as well. You can oppose someone's politics, just like I've been saying, without mocking, their passing or whatever else. We have to relearn that this disagreement isn't a war. Doesn't make us either one a fascist, racist, that this, that, whatever terms are being thrown at just because I disagree with somebody. You know what I'm saying? So what do we want? What do we want now? Well, how do we move forward? Well, if we want a better country, maybe the next revolution isn't in ballots or bullets, but in how we treat each other. And that starts with the words that we choose. Words like, brother, sister. And again, the pure essence of being a servant, brotherhood, sisterhood, esprit de corps, semper, always faithful, all those things that we loved about being in the service. I mean, those are the things that we need to start re-spreading and standing up for the little guys, period. So I just want you to think about that. If you do you believe the free speech has gone too far or not far enough? Let me know. Throw your comments right there on the right here on the content of the show. I always reply back, and I appreciate everybody who's a lot of cool shout outs right here. Shout out to Angel, Brian Colburn, Chief Seabird, and everybody else, and all the super fans out there, Ken Crenshaw, Motomi, Pilar, everybody. Hey, huge shout out. So with that being said, I think this is a good point to index, everybody. But let's start this conversation. Let's keep this going. All right. So with that being said, I think this is a good place to index. So I'll see you later. Aistamas, Daisuki. See you next week. Ara, get some yuts.